Hello, my name is Greta Harrison. Welcome to Born Fabulous Podcast Season 3, Episode 19. The theme of this season is young adults with intellectual disabilities living full lives of independence and interdependence. This episode features June and Jim Zoll and Melody and Bob Ruppel. It is the second of 8 episodes with the Zolls and the Ruppels, which is part of an in-depth series about marriage, featuring parents, self-advocates with support staff, and an employer. Both the Zolls and the Ruppels are retired and have been married over 40 years. They are the parents of James Zoll and Kristen Ruppel, who have been married over 5 years. James and Kristen have Down syndrome. Now, please enjoy this clip of Love is a Potion. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, who was the focus of Season 1, Episodes 1 through 4. The music and the voice are by Rachel Fuller. Bob mentioned that James is good at sports. Do you want to delve into when he started playing sports and just give a little bit of that journey for the parents who are interested in putting their children in sports?
Yeah, I'll get into that with you. James actually started at a pretty early age. He was fortunate enough to have some Special Olympics opportunities, and he was very, very enthusiastic about being involved in whatever it was going on at that time. And he seemed to really enjoy it. And it was a good opportunity for him to interact and make new friends. And to this day, they're still quite active in the Special Olympics. Although the COVID made a pretty big hit on it and that, but it seems to be coming back now fairly well. And it's just a great opportunity for him to interact with the other athletes and that. And for me, it's been really rewarding to watch the interaction of these people. They're just so genuine to each other. Even though they all have what we term disabilities, it doesn't matter to them. They just they just get along well, and they love each other, and they root for each other. And Greta, you mentioned that movie Champions, did you? Yeah, and we watched it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Oh yeah, and so the ending of that movie is a perfect example, of what I'm trying to make a point of here. So yeah, the sports has been a big boost for James, and even to this day, he still enjoys the opportunities. So.
Which particular sports does he like the best?
Well, I um,
I think he likes his eye hand ball coordination. So he likes bocce ball, he likes bowling, he likes to shoot pool, he likes
baseball when he played
tennis,
baseball.
he liked that. He does love to play just about any sport, and he's quite good at it.
Yeah.
He does like it.
Now, one thing in his years that he's he's come to he's not big fan of
Losing.
sweating or suffering. And,
Yeah.
he like he liked to play soccer, but pretty soon he learned that, and this is like too much
It's too hard.
running around,
That's a good point.
Um,
And in the early years, he did not like to lose. He was not, and he's still not, but it's much better. If he loses, he's pretty pissed for
Yeah.
a while. So,
no, he's changed in that respect
he's
a
gotten
lot.
much
He
better.
was terrible.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to be around the guy, So, but now he's so much better now.
Yeah.
Did he ever play sports outside of Special Olympics in any community leagues or school or anything like that? Or was it always Special Olympics?
It's been
Yeah.
Special Olympics.
Okay.
I will say though, just real quickly, in high school, he did participate in extracurricular. He, as well as Kristen, did the chorus and performed at the Arts Center Christmas programs, and he actually was a part of the varsity basketball team at the high school for 4 years. So the varsity basketball coach was James' adaptive PE teacher at the middle school. He became the coach at the high school, took James under his wing, told me, don't worry, he can travel on the away buses with us to the away games. And the whole social aspect of being one of the team members on the high school team, or being part of the chorus, or gave him so much feeling of being part of the groups, and it gave him more than I can even say. His confidence level in himself walking into the basketball court. They ended up winning CIF, San Diego County Championship, at the Civic in downtown San Diego. The CIF championship basketball in his senior year, traveled with the bus down there, and just any extracurricular activities where they can be more involved with regular peers is pretty cool.
Now, that reminds me, when it comes to Bob and Melody, I just want to clarify. I know Kristen was in the K-8 arts magnet school. Was her high school in the same track? Was it a arts magnet high school?
No, it was not.
It was not.
Just a regular high school.
It was a regular high school, but she had that preparation at the K-8 school. She had a great great foundation built, really, right?
Right. And she really, so, I guess when she went to high school,
We got the story for
she we were pretty freaked out about it because she had to go to 6 different classrooms and all that kind of stuff. And Bob took her.
I took her on Sunday before the class on Monday and walked her around all the classes. But we were pretty anxious about hearing how the first day of school went, and they had assigned somebody to be her chaperone and make sure she got from class to class. And then they were very helpful. I mean, it was a very positive thing. But at the end of the day, we got a phone call from the school that says, Kristen had a good day today, but we just have to let you know that she fired her aide. She did, because she knew what she was supposed to be wearing.
And she just didn't want to. By this age, she'd realized, okay, I don't want to stand out. I want to fit in, So
great.
James and Kristen are both very determined people.
Yeah.
It makes it interesting as a couple, because it's challenging for them both at times. To both be so very assertive, but they also support each other so wonderfully. So
I love that story, because I have to mention, do either of you know who Kayla McEwen is? She's the first lobbyist with Down syndrome, the first professional lobbyist.
I video yesterday with her, and that's all I know about her.
Okay, yeah, she's great. And she talks about how many times the aides were in the way and whatever. And even Kayla didn't fire her. I'm sure when Kayla hears this, Kayla's going to be like, I wish I'd have done that. I mean, that is great. I
So she
love
never
that.
had the 8 again.
That's
Yeah.
great. That's classic. That is so great. That is a great story. I love that. And so you're telling me she did not have an 8 in high school?
Oh, no.
But not the aide that was going to make sure she got to her classes and all
that kind of stuff.
They just turned her loose.
She only
Okay.
needed it one day.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't
And
even need it that day. Sunday with me was all she needed. And so she didn't want the aide around at all.
I love it.
Yeah, but she had other aides helping her with various things, and it was a good environment for her. And the other girls all went to that same high school too.
Yeah.
And our daughter ended up. No, she taught at the academy.
Our oldest daughter actually taught at the magnet school while my other girls were there. So that's Kristen was an 8 in her classroom.
Oh, that's great. And you must be proud of, what does your older daughter teach?
She's the one that works for West Ed now and teaches and trains other teachers, but she taught kindergarten and first grade.
Is that Nicole?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's great. That's great. She fired her aide. Oh, that is a great story. I love that. That's a great story. Did James have an aide when he was in high school?
He did
June
not.
and
I
Jim?
think, no, not really like an individual aide. We did the same as Bob and Melody and, took him the day before school, high school, and kind of showed him his classes. Although what we saw when we took him was his special ed classroom that he would report to in the morning before he went out for inclusion was located over by the janitor's trailer. And I remember seeing where it was at, and on the first day of school, going to the principal's office and telling him that the room needed to be moved into the center of campus and that I was starting with him to give him the opportunity to move that classroom into the campus area, which he did. And the principal and I went on to have a really nice relationship. But
after that first day,
because it was not going to work. So, but your question, no, he didn't really have an 8 at high school.
I do remember that same anxiety, though, that Bob mentioned about having to go to all these different rooms now. And oh my goodness, how's he gonna do that? With all these kids in the hallway and that. But
they did great, though. I think that be on time. But they're pretty routine-ish adults, and they learn very quickly. James learned very quickly to get to class on time and what was expected on his own.
That's good.
And even after high school, Greta, they ended up taking classes at the local junior college, actually one city over, where they meaning James and one of his friends, they would ride the train to the next city and get off on the junior college campus and go to a couple of different classes that they had signed up for. And they did this for a few years. So I think learning how to maneuver the high school campus really gave them the confidence to go then to a junior college campus and do classes on their own, of course, after they were shown, but they were able to learn quite quickly and enjoy the junior college campus for a few years. James and Kristen were they, during that time, they became a couple, but when they started at the campus, they were not a couple. So anyway, I've probably gone way too far.
No, you haven't. We're about to get there, but I just I want to hit on a point that you mentioned where I love the way you said it. You went and spoke to the principal and you gave him an opportunity to make it right.
I did.
And there are so many parents out there who don't understand the simple fact if there is a ladder and you have to follow the ladder. You can't skip the teacher. You can't skip the department head. You can't skip the principal. You can't just go straight to the superintendent. I mean, so many parents you have to follow the ladder, the organizational ladder. And what you said really hits on that point, and that's true. Because 99% of the time, if you follow that, then you will, be more productive. And I just like that you put it that way. That was
that's the way I meant it too. I think he knew I wasn't going to stop with him, but so it was up to him what he wanted to do.
But you didn't go in there yelling and screaming and whatever. You just professionally said, what the problem was and how to handle it.
And I worked for the elementary middle school district, not the high school district, but I had so many peers that I worked with in the district that he was coming with. I knew I had so much backup there for the way they did inclusion and what the high school district was going to do. So it's good to, I just think parents have so much ability to fight for what their kids need in the school districts, more than some parents know. We hold a lot of cards. And at my IEP meetings, I remember, letting everyone do their spiel, say the numbers, give the facts of what they think my child can do. And then I knew that what I just knew I had more power to get what he needed then.
And the older they get, the more data you have to show.
Yeah.
I remember beginning in high school with that great big meeting with all those people. I had we call them SOLs in Virginia, but I had all our test scores and I had graphs. I had all the data. I mean, the older they get, the more you can show, because so then they can see. They may have never known anybody who could do that before, but when they see examples and they see data, they believe. But you're absolutely right that parents do have power. But I have to mention too, you worked for the school district. That is very tenuous situation for many parents, because some parents feel like they can't fully advocate because they don't want to cross certain lines. And so it looks like you balanced that pretty well. I'm glad. It can be done, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It can be done.
Yeah, I think so.
That's great. That's great. So let's hear the story of how Kristen and James met.
That's a big one, isn't it? It's like
I'll let you start that.
We all kind of have our ideas, but I think James and Kristen probably first met, and stop me if I'm wrong, but at a birthday party of other friends that they had. I'm thinking, for me, the first time I really met you and Bob, Melody, is at one of Kristen's birthday parties at your old house. James and Kristen kind of ran in the same social circle, and I remember driving James to your home for a birthday party. He was dating one of Kristen's girlfriends at that time. When I first met Kristen, and Kristen was, maybe jumping ahead time-wise and stuff, Kristen was dating James's best friend, Nick, and James was dating Kristen's best friend, Shelley. And what I saw when I would pick James up from birthday parties that they were all attending was James and Kristen sitting together, talking, laughing, having a good time. What I saw when I dropped him off was him excited to see Kristen and them talking and laughing and just having this natural rapport. One time I dropped James off for a Special Olympics bus ride to another city. And the first person he got off the bus to go talk to was Kristen. So what I saw with them meeting in those social circles was their just easy attraction for each other. Yeah. And so the birthday parties continues, the graduation party at the pizza parlor, just things like that. And I think I became Kristen's IHSS worker, respite worker.
Respite worker.
One summer, I started to give, Kristen came to our home, and so they hung out that summer. Let's see, the birthday party, James's birthday party, Kristen was at. He got down on one knee and asked her to be his girlfriend. Were you there, Melody?
No, I was not.
I don't remember, but we all kind of stepped back and went, wow, okay, this is going to happen. So we had to maneuver did we maneuver the breakup of the other couple?
I think Kristen and Nick had already broken up. I mean, that was not
too serious, too long.
No, not too. And Kristen always would say, he's not my type.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting. So it's just that natural attraction that all of us have when we start dating. I mean, Kristen was just really attracted to James. She was, so excited, and she thought he was so cute, and and I kept going, what about this? What about that? She, these other people, she goes, oh, they're not my type. James is my type.
Yeah.
I mean, she just knew. So just that natural attraction that we all went through is exactly how they, proceeded to get to know each other and start their relationship.
Yeah.
So,
James. I'm sorry, I was just going to.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, they have a really close-knit group of friends, as we've been sort of talking about who dated who, but they've been together really since birth, and they're lifelong friends, and very active social life and lots of dances and all that type of thing. So they had lots of opportunities to let their relationship grow. It wasn't as though they didn't see each other and then rarely all of a sudden they, get together for a date. They were, socializing all the time. You didn't have to depict it as a date or not a date because it was group activities.
Yeah.
And so Kristen was no longer with her boyfriend. Had James broken up with his girlfriend?
After the summer of Kristen coming to our home for the summer, yes, they did. And
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so what I like about that story too is it wasn't their first relationship. They had both dated around a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. So about how old were they when James got down on his knee and asked her to be his girlfriend?
So let's see, 1538. James was probably 23.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
James was
22.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I guess this kind of goes back a little bit to the high school thing, but one of the things I wanted to say is I spent so much time getting Kristen fully included. And then back in the day, there was this show called Life Goes On, and it had a kid with Down syndrome in it. And Kristen would not watch that show. And I thought she'd be so excited, and she literally wouldn't watch it. And that was the day I said, okay, full inclusion's really great, but now I need to get back to those girlfriends that she met when she was a baby.
Yeah.
Because she also needs that other side
of
life, people that are like her and are dealing with the things that she liked. I mean, it was a big lesson for me that I had spent all this to try to give her as normal life as possible, but had neglected the needs of the part of her that were different. And she needed friends and support of people like herself, just like we all do.
Yeah.
And so once they got to be adults and they had all these social things to do, and they were so busy, Kristen was so happy too, to have both.
You're bringing, Melody, I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Because you were bringing up, I had a conversation with another parent whose daughter is married, and he and his wife told me that they had spent their whole life making sure their daughter was included. She's about 35 now. That when she got to high school, they realized that they had unintentionally discriminated against people with disabilities because none of them were included.
Wow.
And so without them being included, she didn't know other people with disabilities. And so they made an effort when she was in high school to get her involved in it wasn't Special Olympics, but it was a sports team for people with disabilities. And that's how she met her current husband. And I remember them telling me this, it was about a year ago. And my light bulb went off because I've spent my whole life making sure my daughter's included, fighting for inclusion. And that's when where we live in Virginia, we don't have regional centers. We don't have services at all. We have 0 services. Okay. Wow. So I said, you know what? I fully believe you need to create the society that you want to see. So I got together, built a work team, and we're starting something called Let's Mingle where I live so that my daughter can meet other people with disabilities. And if you had asked me a couple years ago, I would have never thought that I would do that ever, because we're so programmed. And I wouldn't change the inclusive journey in high school for the world or all her years. I wouldn't change the education because she needs that solid education. But the friendship on the other side, since we're still not living in an inclusive society, if everybody was included in school, we wouldn't have this dilemma, because they would have the friends with them in all their classes at school. They would have the friends where they work. They would have the friends at church, but we're not there yet. So until we're there, we have to make up for the difference right now. We just have to, until society gets more inclusive. I'm so glad you said that. When I met June in California in January at the Club 21 conference, where both of us spoke separately, I told the young parents I was speaking to then this exact thing. I said, I wished I would have known earlier. Stay on your inclusive journey, but also make sure that part of you has your foot in the quote unquote other world too, because you're going to need both. I'm so glad you said that. So glad you said that. You're absolutely right. Because they wouldn't have met each other. They were at different schools, right?
Yeah.
And you live 30 minutes apart. So, and I love that they have this group of friends that they've grown up with. And Melody, I remember you saying the parents that you met when they were babies, you're still friends to this day.
Yes.
So that's great.
And those parents, I always say, I never would picture myself as a support group person. And, and in the beginning, join the Down syndrome support group. Well, it turned out that was very valuable.
Yeah.
And the same for Kristen, I mean, those parents, we deal with things that other parents don't deal with. And so we can talk about that more openly than we can with anybody else. So those friendships, June included, and we have a group of about 6 moms. We've been supportive throughout their lives. And, now as we age, there's new issues to think about. And it's, I think that's one of the benefits, is all the great people you meet along the way.
Yeah.
We've been
that's-
very fortunate.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I think California, you guys have a lot of cool things that we can all learn from. Thank you for listening to episode 19 of Born Fabulous Podcast 3rd season. I hope you enjoyed it and want to hear more. Short video clips from most episodes are available on our YouTube channel and on bornfabulouspodcast.com. You can also hear all released episodes of Born Fabulous Podcast on YouTube now. In episode 20, you will hear the Zolls and the Ruppels discuss James and Kristen's independence journey, mixed with some great examples and stories. Please follow and like us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be honored if you would leave a review wherever you heard this podcast. Now, please enjoy this clip of Love is a Potion. The lyrics are by Melissa Riggio, who was the focus of Season 1, Episodes 1 through 4. The music and voice are by Rachel Fuller.